Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Matthew Street channel. So happy you're here. I appreciate it. And folks, another quick video in my kind of a mini series. I just did a video about John Denver not too long ago about his final studio years. And I've decided to cover another male singer-songwriter that I love very much since my childhood. And this one won't take as long, unfortunately, because this artist had a very limited studio output before his untimely passing. And I'm talking about the great Jim Croce, folks. Jim Croce, man, boy, what a tragedy. A man whose music I loved so much as a young boy due to my father. Any of you that have watched my channel for a period of time, you know I've done several videos with my dad. You can go check out one of my playlists. And I think there's 10 or 11 videos with me and Dad talking about music. And he grew up, my dad, he was born in 1930, and he grew up obviously during the Great Depression of the 30s into the 40s with the big bands and whatnot, coming into the 50s with the choral groups like Ray Conniff, Bert Kaempfert, Percy Faith, and all that. But I have to give my dad credit. As he got into his 30s, which is still a young man in my book, he started getting into modern music quite a bit. Not only did he and my mom buy me Meet the Beatles and A Hard Day's Night in 1964 when I was a very little boy and set me off on my Beatles tangent, as it were, but they also got into music, modern music that they liked. They were buying things from the 60s going into the early 70s, things like Chicago and Chuck Mangione and, oh my goodness, my dad even had a Santana album and a Sly and the Family Stone greatest hits. And so they were in their 30s, going into their late 30s, but getting into some modern music. I have to give them credit for that. But one of the artists that my dad specifically got into from day one was Jim Croce. Now, Jim Croce only put out 3 studio albums, and only 2 during his lifetime. His final album came out posthumously within months after his passing. It had been completed, but didn't come out till a couple of months later. So I want to talk about Jim Croce a little bit. He was born in 1943, same year as George Harrison, in Philadelphia. Grew up in Philadelphia, not in Philadelphia, but in Pennsylvania, as it were. And he died on September 20th, 1973. So I'm a little late here, but I'm almost 50 years exactly to when Jim Croce left us, tragically too early. Can you believe it's been half a century, folks? I can't believe it. He died in Louisiana in a plane crash with 5 other individuals, including Maury Muleson, who was his partner in crime, who was his lead guitarist and accompanied him on tour and on the albums and sang background vocals. And it was just a tragedy. And I won't go into the whole crash thing, but they were taking off, flying to another gig in Texas, and they left the airport in Louisiana. And the pilot, it was pilot error all the way. It was foggy out, visibility was low, and he misjudged. They clipped the top of some trees, and the rest is tragic history. 6 people lost, including Jim, in that crash. Again, almost 50 years to the day, September 20th, 1973. And I remember it, folks. Jim was at the height of his popularity. It was the day before the lead single from his 3rd album. The album was called I Got a Name. I'm going to show it to you in a minute. The lead single was just getting ready to be released, and this happens. It's kind of heartbreaking even for me now, all these years later, to talk about it, because Jim was, like I said, right at the peak of his popularity. We don't know where this man would have soared musically and popularity-wise throughout the 70s, where it may have taken him musically, what he would have written, what he could have done. Now, before his 3 big solo albums that I'm going to show you, he did put out 2 albums with his wife Ingrid. He married Ingrid in 1966, I believe it was. And Ingrid and Jim put out 2 albums together as kind of a duo. Those albums didn't, do much commercially and whatnot, but they are, I believe you can still get them out there if you want them. But it wasn't until he met Maury, his partner in crime, as it were, that things started to really shine for him. Maury helped him with some songwriting. Like I said, they were great together. And he finally got signed to ABC Dunhill Records. I believe that's what the label is called, but ABC Records. And was signed to an album deal with them, a major label like that. He put out his first album in April of 1972, first Jim Croce solo album, and it's called You Don't Mess Around with Jim. April 72, this album went gold. It was a U.S. #1 album. The singles on it were, obviously, You Don't Mess Around with Jim, made top 10. You had songs like Operator, which made, top 20. You had Time in a Bottle, which went #1 posthumously in 1973 after he passed. But Time in a Bottle is on this album as well. And such wonderful music on here, folks. I mean, check it out for yourself. But Jim just had such wonderful material. Every man, every day, common man material. His fast-paced songs were just so wonderful. His slower songs were wonderful. Working at the Car Wash Blues and the Roller Derby Queen. He talked about everyday people in his songs. He could really, when you listen to his lyrics and what he sings about, they're so down to earth and so salt of the earth, everyday people we've all met here and there. People he would talk to at bars and at gigs and stuff, and he would get their stories and then write a song about it. It's just so fascinating and wonderful. And his love songs are second to none. I mean, like songs like Operator and others. But this is his first solo album, as it were. This is my dad's original. I don't think that's a gatefold or anything, but it might be. Yeah, it's a gatefold. Okay. But it's so beat up, but it's got all the lyrics inside, more pictures of Jim in there. Here's Jim and Ingrid, and the lyrics to this fine album. This is my dad's original. Lovely album, and I'm so happy to have it. Just show you what I'll show you one vinyl, because they all, pretty much the labels look the same on all three of his albums. That's the ABC label. And then on at least the first two albums of his, it's the same inner sleeve. And that's what it looks like, the ABC inner sleeve label. Inner sleeve look, I should say. Okay, so that was a wonderful album. Then in July of 73, also that album went gold. In July of 73, he releases the album called Life and Times. Again, this is my dad's original from 1973. July 73, goes gold, US #7. The first one went #1. I think especially posthumously it went #1, but this one went #7. Here's the back, and song lyrics down there, song titles down there. You have songs like One Less Set of Footsteps on here, made top 40. Bad Bad Leroy Brown, #1. A beautiful love song called It Doesn't Have to Be That Way, made top 100. This also has a gatefold. Great gatefold. Some pictures and things you can see there. I want to make sure I'm doing it justice for you. Great stuff. I think Ingrid took a lot of these photos of her husband. But this is a wonderful album. And again, July 73, only a couple of months before he passed, this album came out and did very well for Jim. Let's see, I'll put that there. And again, the same type of inner sleeve for it. And the label is the same. Again, these are my dad's originals from 50 years ago. I can't even believe it, half a century. Now, Jim did finalize his third album for ABC. It's called I Got a Name. He did finish this album before he went out on the tour for this album, on which he was tragically killed. I Got a Name was released posthumously, though. He passed away, as I said, in September. December of 73, this album was released. It did still go gold. It made #2 on the charts. It's not a gatefold as the other two are, but here's the back of it. And the song titles are along the side here. I don't know how well that will translate, but this is a fine album as well, folks. All three of his albums are 100% recommended by me and worth it. The singles on this one was I Got a Name, which made top 10. Working at the Car Wash Blues, top 40. I'll have to say I Love You in a Song, number 9, top 10. I mean, it's a wonderful, wonderful album. And again, same ABC label, but here's inner sleeve on this one's a little different than the others. This one was a little more glossy with some pictures of Jim, one there. And then a cool picture of him in his bedroom taken by his wife back here. Just a fine, fine album, folks. Such a tragedy, you know, that the man only got to release 3 studio albums. And I do have some CDs. I mean, I didn't take them all up, but I do have them, pretty much all of them on, oh, there's a couple I have on CD. You can get them readily anywhere for a good price, folks. Tons of compilations of Jim's best of hits and everything. You have one, here's one here. Let me take this out. So you see some great pictures of Jim there. There's the front. This is a wonderful best of Jim Croce. Don't know how it will translate again, but you're getting all the hits on there. Okay, let me put that away. I mean, this happens to be on Rhino, I believe, but there's so many different compilations of Jim's wonderful music you can get. And there's a wonderful DVD. It's the only Jim Croce official DVD I know of. Hoping here's the inside of it. I'll take the booklet, I'll show you that, but there's the custom label. But this is wonderful. It has all the known TV appearances of Jim and with Maury doing background and lead guitar with him. Well worth getting this, folks. It's Jim Croce Live. Have you heard Jim Croce Live? It's absolutely wonderful. If you can get this, I don't even know if it's on Blu-ray, but you can get the DVD. But look at all these great live performances you're getting visually. You can visually see Jim at work. From all facets and albums of his career. This is a wonderful, wonderful DVD. Great picture here. There's Jim with Maury. That's the way we'll remember them live, singing their hearts out, playing their hearts out inside of this little fold out. I mean, absolutely wonderful. You can get this thing for short money, folks. Short money. And get it. If you can get this, get it. It's absolutely fantastic. So that's it, folks. I just want to do a quick video for Jim. I did one for John Denver, and I just felt that we needed to talk about Jim a little bit. He only had 3 albums. I just threw this video together quick. Show you my dad's original vinyl, what I have on CD, that wonderful DVD. You know, these are the artists we have to try to keep their music alive, folks, because they're getting forgotten as the decades are flying by and us original fans are getting older. I mean, look at me. I was 11 years old when I first got into Jim Croce due to my father buying the albums. 11. Look at me. I'm an old man now. I mean, we've got to teach the new younger generation about these great artists and keep their music alive and out there. So I'm hoping some younger people, younger than me, because anyone younger than me probably was not a real-time fan of Jim Croce when he was still with us. You know, that's 50 years ago. So let's get the younger people into it. You know, the people out there that we all know and love that are into music, that are much younger than we are. Let's teach them about people like Jim Croce and John Denver and other great artists like that. So, folks, that's it. Just a quick video. Try to keep it fairly short. Hope you enjoyed it. I know I mumbled and stumbled, but I threw this together this morning because I wanted to talk about Jim and get his name out there again. And it's been 50 years since his passing. Bless you all. Thanks for being here and spending a little time with myself and the great Jim Croce. Bye-bye.